Hi, I'm Lori. Welcome back to Yoga Den. This evening we're going to flow our way into bow pose, also known as Dhanurasana. I will show a modification, but please do not attempt bow if you are pregnant or if you have a lower back or shoulder injury. All right, great. Let's get started. We're going to start out in a supported heart opener, grabbing both of your blocks, placing one underneath the bottom of your rib cage and in between your shoulder blades. The other one upright underneath the nape of your head. Releasing those arms out to the sides, palms up, closing your eyes and extending those legs as long as it feels okay on that lower back. Allowing those feet to flop out to the side. Settling into your practice. And setting an intention for yourself. It could be anything that your heart desires. Now bending those knees to come out of the pose, placing your blocks to the side. We're going to bring those knees in and rock from side to side, massaging that lower back. Now we're going to come into a reclined twist. So extending that left leg and bringing that right leg across your body. If you wanted to use a block underneath your knee, you can adjust the level of the block. And then opening up to the right, looking over your right shoulder, closing those eyes. And breathing into that lower back, releasing any tension that you may feel. Always listening to your body throughout your practice. Now switching sides, extending your right leg. And bringing that left leg across your body, placing that block underneath your knee, if you did so on the opposite side, and then opening up to the left, looking over that left shoulder, releasing that left shoulder down towards the mat. Coming back center, bringing those knees in and all the way to your right, and coming up onto all fours. Aligning those hands underneath your shoulders and your knees underneath your hips. Coming into thread the needle pose, so we're going to keep those hips upright and bring that left arm through that little window, releasing that left cheek down to the mat. And then placing that right hand, palm facing up, either on your lower back or if you wanted to place it in the hip crease. Opening up those shoulders here. And then coming back up, pressing into the mat and lifting up back to all fours, switching sides. So taking that right hand through that little window, releasing your right cheek down to the mat, and then bringing that left hand either on your lower back, palm up, or into your hip crease on the right. And then coming back up. Extending that left leg out to the side and pointing your toes. We're going to fire up the core here and then lifting that leg up and stretching it back behind you. Inhale as you point to the side, exhale as you bring it back up behind you. Finding a spot to focus on your mat to maintain that balance. And now switching sides. So bringing that right leg out to the side and pointing your toes. And then lifting it up and extending that leg back behind you. Inhale as you point to the right, and exhale as you lift and extend. Tucking that belly button to the spine, keeping those hands underneath your shoulders. And then coming back down, we're going to sit back into child's pose, hips to heels, releasing your forehead down to the mat, and taking a breath or two. Coming into extended child's pose, lifting your forearms off the mat and then making your way into downward facing dog, pedaling those feet, and then stepping forward with that right foot halfway, then all the way into a low lunge, releasing that left knee down. Inhale, reaching up, hands overhead, shoulder width apart, and exhale, reaching back, interlacing those fingers or grabbing onto your forearms, coming into a low back bend here. And then releasing out of your back bend and stepping forward into a fold. Inhale, reaching up, palms together overhead. And exhale, swan dive into your forward fold. Inhale, opening your heart forward with a flat back. And exhale, stepping back with that right leg into a low lunge. Inhale, reaching up overhead. And exhale, coming into your back bend, interlacing your fingers. Now stepping forward into your fold. Inhale, reaching up, palms together overhead. And exhale, swan dive. Inhale, opening your heart forward with a flat back. And exhale, stepping back into a high plank with the right foot and then the left. Releasing your knees down to the mat or sinking all the way down, elbows in. Inhale, low cobra or upward facing dog. And exhale, coming back into extended child's pose or right into your downward facing dog. Taking a couple deep breaths here. And then stepping forward with that right foot halfway and then all the way into an extended side angle pose. Aligning those heels, placing that block on the inside of your right foot. Placing your hand on the block or your forearm to your thigh as you extend that left arm up towards the ceiling. You could look down at your right hand or look up at your left fingertips. Then releasing down, placing your block to the side and stepping forward with that left foot into your forward fold. Releasing your head down. Taking a deep inhale as you sit back into chair pose, extending those arms overhead. And then exhale, coming all the way up, releasing your arms down to your sides. Inhale, bringing those arms up overhead, palms together, and exhale, swan dive as you come all the way down. Inhale, opening your heart forward with a flat back, and exhale, stepping back with that right leg into extended side angle pose. Placing your block on the inside of your left foot and mirroring what you did on the opposite side. Keeping that left knee aligned right above your ankle, making sure it doesn't turn inward. Releasing down, placing your block to the side and stepping forward with that right foot into a forward fold. Releasing your head down. Inhale as we sit back into chair pose, reaching those arms overhead. And exhale, bringing those palms together overhead and down to heart center. Pressing those palms up overhead as we inhale. And then exhale, swan dive all the way down. Inhale, opening your heart forward with a flat back. And exhale, stepping back into high plank with your right leg and then the left. Coming into side angle pose, so releasing your right knee down And then extending that left leg out, keeping that foot flat on the mat, and reaching that left arm up towards the ceiling. You could stay here if you want to challenge yourself a little bit more. You could extend that left leg, staggering the feet, lifting your hips up. And then releasing down both knees down to the mat. And switching sides, doing exactly what you did on the opposite side. If you're keeping that knee down, making sure it's right underneath the hip. And the left hand underneath the shoulder. And releasing down. Staying in your high plank, we're going to come into downward facing dog from here, lifting your hips up and back. Releasing your head. And then releasing those knees down to the mat. Sitting back into child's pose, hips to heels, releasing your forehead down. We're going to come forward into a modified plank. Bringing those hands underneath your shoulders and then lowering all the way down to the mat, belly to the mat. If you don't want to go into full bow pose, take it into modified bow, placing your elbow underneath your shoulder and grabbing onto your ankle. Opening your heart forward and up as you lift your foot up towards the ceiling. Or you could take it into full bow, bending your right knee and grabbing onto your right ankle also. And opening your heart forward and up as you lift up, lifting those thighs up and extending them back behind you. Releasing your glutes just a little bit, making sure this feels okay for that lower back. Always listening to your body. And coming out of your bow at any time. Then releasing down, extending those legs. We're going to form a little pillow with your stacked palms, releasing your cheek down to your stacked palms. Taking a couple deep breaths here. And then if you wanted to revisit bow, you could come back up. Or if you wanted to come into child's pose, you could do that. So you could come into your modified bow on the opposite side, or come into your full bow. Making your way into your bow, opening your heart forward and up. Releasing those glutes a slight bit, making sure those knees don't bow out to the sides. And don't forget to breathe. And then releasing down, we're going to form a little pillow and turn our head to the opposite side. And then coming back up, pressing into our child's pose, sitting your hips back to your heels and releasing your forehead down to the mat. Thank you for joining me. Namaste.